Did we make it? Are we back?
Goes wide, side of the net, Giroux back in, they score! Wilson, Ovechkin put it right on a platter for him. Kuznetsov for Ovechkin, drive, he scores!
We're back.
Paul, it's you and I this week. Kelly is deep in real work. She won't be joining us this week, but I still urge you to follow her at Sked Central. I'm Dan 83. Paul, Puckman RI. We have not a lot to talk about, unlike last week, but we do have two things. I feel, for the most part, we mentioned because we're going to talk about coronavirus coming up in a second, but I feel ignoring the current event situation completely be kind of stupid. I think it's no secret what side you and I fall on the political spectrum, but I did want to kick this off with a bit of a rant on the NHL and why I don't care. I understand that sports teams should, and this is not, we're not going to bash. The whole point of my comment was we're not going to bash politics here. I'll do that on Twitter and I'll go round and round with you and you'll lose. But kidding, guys. It was a joke, sort of. I don't take, I want to say this correctly. It's sad that I have to say it. I don't take corporations seriously, even the good ones, when they pick a side. The Black Lives Matter movement, I might lose a lot of listeners. I don't care. Black Lives Matter is not about screw white people. No. What was the quote? My house matters. Yes, but that house is on fire.
There's a couple of variations on that theme, right? So yeah, if your house is on fire, and we call the police department, and I say my house matters, I'm not saying yours doesn't, but right now my house is the one that needs attention.
I need the fire put out, please.
Right. Yeah, there was another one about food. Like everybody's sitting at a table and everybody gets food except Bob, and somebody says, "Well, Bob's hunger matters." It's like. Well, and then somebody else says, all hunger matters. Well, yeah, but right now, Bob's the one without food.
Food, yeah. There was a Bible scripture that I saw earlier that I then lost. That, here it is. This is a summary of Luke 15. There are 100 sheep, but one goes missing. Jesus leaves the 99, goes after the one. And the 99 say, but what about us? Don't we matter? Of course, the 99 still matter, but they're not the ones in danger. The one is. I mean, basically what I'm saying is stop being so freaking selfish about things. It's not about hating you or any other race. It's about, perhaps not getting kneeled on and murdered by a cop.
What's the issue right now?
Yes. What's the issue right this second? And if your response to that is, well, he might have been a criminal, that does not justify that incident.
I can get on a soapbox now because, I work in law enforcement. I
didn't know that.
I work at a psych hospital with the criminally insane. So all of my patients are court adjudicated.
I didn't know
to be where I am. Yeah, I work in the largest criminally insane mental hospital in the state of Massachusetts.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So I work with tons of policemen, folks from the DOC, ex-cops, all kinds of stuff. And to a man or a woman, there's a lot of women who I work with too, no one has come forward to say, look, what this guy did is all right. We go through the same training that the police go through.
Okay.
As far as having to use physical force. And, I've been doing this kind of work for 30 years. I have sat on more than my share of people during an emergency. I have done more than my share of restraints. I have been in hand-to-hand combat for years. Luckily, I don't have to do that anymore because I'm getting old and fat. And if I had to go sit on some, you know what? Actually, that's not true because I have. if I have to restrain somebody, man, it's going to be hard for me to get back up. But
Can you help me
But
when they leave? When they leave, help
even,
me.
all right, say even if in a really bad or really violent, we said we weren't going to go here, but we're going to go here.
Yeah,
Even if you have a bad physical confrontation and all of a sudden you say, oh, look, because somebody's fighting at you, somebody's coming at you with deadly force, you're going to do what you need to do within the bounds of your training to get the situation under control. And then if you realize, ooh, I'm in a dangerous position here, you fix it. So, I mean, there's been times where, we are taught, A, you don't restrain face down. They had this guy face down on the ground, George Floyd. I'm going to say this guy, I don't want to dehumanize him.
yeah.
But
George,
they have-
and we're not going to stick on this because nobody wants to hear two white folk,
Exactly.
efforts talk
But,
about this.
all right, so sometimes you do a restraint, you get somebody to get control of the situation, get everybody safe. That's number one priority.
Yep.
You end up face down. All right.
Yep.
He's face down. Can't be face down. Fix it. Flip him over. All right. I'm on his neck. And you're also taught, don't put pressure on the joints. You don't lean on shoulders. You don't lean on elbows. You don't lean on knees. You don't go across somebody's back where they can't breathe.
No.
All right, I'm in a bad position. Let's fix it. Let's get safe. So that whole process should take seconds. So there's no excuse for what happened. None at all.
Especially for one that's not resisting.
Against all training. Yeah, and he was in handcuffs, and there were two other people on his leg. It's all bad. All against every amount of training that anyone has ever gone through.
And it brings it back around to the NHL so we don't go on a soapbox because I am trying to put a show together. I'm meeting with a bunch of reluctance because of how dangerous it is to speak out right now when you're a certain color. So I'm trying to I'm not going to be part of it other than producing. I'm not going to say a word. I'm trying to get a podcast together that'll be coming out in the next week or two. That's why I found it funny, Paul, when the NHL put their statement out. A corporation that had 0 black players on their Black History Month commercials.
Yeah, we talked about that a few months ago, didn't we?
That's odd. Which brings me back to my point, and I don't mean this in defense of the NHL or the NFL. Looking at you, Washington Redskins, shut your mouth.
The Atlanta Braves, who came out against racial injustice as they have 50,000 people doing the tomahawk chop every game. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, whatever. My point is I don't care what a billionaire thinks. But I did read the NHL one and go, really? I would have sat that one out. I would have just let PK or Wayne Simmons or anybody else say anything.
Those get so homogenized and watered down. And
when Jersey Boy JVR, John Van Riemsdyk, damn it, I screwed up his name. How? Has a better worded statement on this current state of things than a billion-dollar company, it might be time to, get rid of the whitewashing in the offices. I'm just saying. But in that way, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care what the NHL says. It's never going to be satisfactory because I know they're full of crap. If they do, and here's the problem: they do a 180 for Black History Month next year. I'm still going to laugh about this year. Here's Willie O'Ree. Oh, that's great.
And that seems to be their whole diversity program right there, Willie O'Ree.
Willie O'Ree. Yeah, not anybody else that has come down the pike since.
And Willie's a great guy. If you've ever had the pleasure to meet him, he's one of the all-time great persons I've ever had the pleasure to meet in my life.
I never had a chance to meet him, but he was on Pretz and Steve shortly after his celebration last year or the year before.
I think it was last year, yeah.
Great. You're great. You can just tell he's just happy. The gentleman that died, it's 2 years now, Art Dorrington, who made his name in Atlantic City, was actually before Willie O'Ree. He was they call him the Jackie Robinson of hockey. He played for the Atlantic City Seagulls, and he planted his flag in Atlantic City. Helped a lot with youth hockey. That's where he lived out the rest. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I remember hearing about the youth programs in Atlantic City that he spearheaded.
Yeah, the Boardwalk Hall hockey rink is named after him. They named it after him in 2000, like mid-2000, early 2010s is what I'm trying to say. That word. Like I that's two people. That's two. Not one. Like it's just there are jokes that you joke when you grow up, like, well, basketball, and then there's hockey. But
Well, hockey's traditionally been the sport of, Canadian farm boys and privileged white American boys.
yeah,
So
well,
not a lot of room for growth there, but it's better than it was, but it's not where it needs to be.
was it like 3 years ago? There was over 25 black hockey players, and they couldn't get one for a commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
and,
what
and
I'm.
it's not like these 25 guys, they're not like they were the like fringe roster players. There are some
No,
legit stars.
No,
in
they
that
they
group.
couldn't be. They had to make the team because they're black. They had to. If they weren't that good, they were going to just sign a white guy. And don't tell me I'm crazy. It happens. I'm not saying that the NHL is overtly racist. I just think that they're blind.
That's a good way to put it.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
got
Bettman.
two old white guys here talking about.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I
racism.
don't think Bettman wakes up in the morning and goes, I'm going to fuck him. I'm going to screw him over this day. I don't think that happens. But still, my point is but just don't say anything. But if you don't do that, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say, is because teams have been criticized for not putting anything out or taking too long to put something out. And then when they do put something out, they get criticized for what they said. You're not, especially in the social media world, you're not going to make everybody happy no matter what you do, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Guys like Sidney Crosby who doesn't even have a social media presence. He stays off of it totally. He hasn't said anything, so people are coming at him. Yeah, he's smart for not doing that. Yeah, but I guess my point was. Yeah,
this is my point.
Yeah,
it's not hard to say the words Black Lives Matter, acknowledging that it has nothing to do with anybody else, including my happy pale Italian white ass. Okay. Craig and I are going to talk more about this. Well, I'm going to let Craig talk more about this. He was unfortunately. He lives above a store in Philadelphia. That's all I gotta say. Ooh. He's fine. Everything's fine.
Pictures. Yeah, I saw his pictures on social media. Ooh.
Everything's fine, but he's mad twice over being an African American, and then that happening, which is a whole other podcast with many, many layers. And if you can't see that, open your eyes and squeegee open that third eye. It's not black and white, and that's no pun intended. With that being said, the blind NHL is. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say, if you do want to look for a couple of good statements from players.
Oh, thank you. I almost skipped the whole point.
Yeah, players who get it and have put themselves out there. Check out the statement Jonathan Toews made earlier today. I think it was today. It was such a good statement that you're seeing it pop up on dozens of different players' feeds now as their statement. So check that out. And on the women's side, it's funny, really quick. It seems like, we were just talking about how the NHL and other leagues have been kind of afraid to put their neck out there.
Yeah.
The women's leagues have not. The WNBA, the NWSL, and the NWHL have all been right up front, making statements, supporting the cause wherever they can, putting resources out there online. But for one particularly moving social media post, check out Saroya Tinker. She was just drafted this year by the Metro Riveters, and she goes through some of her experiences as a woman of color playing hockey. Very moving.
Yeah, Darren said something very interesting earlier, which I agree with, which are people who are commenting about hockey that have never been close to hockey. And I'm staying off Twitter for 24 hours other than retweets and the scheduled stuff I had. But my response was that's great. But now you listen to the people who are in hockey. I don't mean that at Darren at all. And because he's going to be on the show, I don't want him yelling at me in the first place. But he's not like. But my point is other people. Okay, ignore the people that aren't in, including me. Ignore this. Ignore all of this. I don't know. Listen to people that are. God, Speaking of 2020 sucking,
What's
coronavirus.
next?
But I said, no, stop it. No, I don't care. I'm leaving the city and getting the hell out. Speaking of COVID, the NHL, I'll never forget because we were, Craig and I were on the air as the news of Rudy Gobert from the New Orleans Pelicans.
Utah Jazz.
No, is he on the
Utah
Jazz?
Yes.
It was announced that he had coronavirus, and the league was shutting down. Well, the league was suspending play, and then the season was shutting down, and then the NHL was like, "Oh, us too," and everybody else, and it was just the dominoes fell. But as of this week, as of last week, the NHL has a plan to return. Now, we talked about the potential of this on the last episode with Kelly, and now that there is a plan, I will preface it like this. Of course, I don't want anybody else to get sick. It's a stupid notion to think otherwise of me. I prefer we don't. I prefer if all the leagues took a break. I understand. It's funny. I'm torn because I understand. Oh yes, they're going to lose so this set amount of money, and I look at the billionaire owners and I care a little less. Again, Comcast Spectacor. But the selfish part of me is tired of not seeing hockey. And if they can do it right, NASCAR was the first test. It's easier to do when you're separate from in cars. I understand that as well. But so far, so good. So good. The NHL is going to be the next one. The NHL of the four major, I think, need to do this. Because when we talk about money, the NHL, for real, has a lot less to give to lose, if that makes sense. That makes sense? I think that.
Yeah, they're not as rich as the other three big sports.
Not, and it's by a country mile, believe it or not. It is a country mile. Yeah. So I completely understand Bettman going, hey, can we talk about this? Now, let's get this out of the way. I believe it was near a unanimous vote from the Players Association to go, yes, we want to try to play.
29-2 was the vote in teams.
Who were the two? Vancouver, or the teams that weren't in the playoffs? Who was
No, it was Carolina and Tampa.
Well, I mean, they're always losing money. There's nobody there, so I get it. I'm kidding.
I think it had more to do with the plan and how they didn't like the plan,
sure,
which you will talk about in a minute.
Yes. So the deal is that 24 teams are going to play.
Those 7 teams that suck.
The 7 teams that suck. Top 12 at each conference by points percentage at the pause of the season, which was March 12th.
Yeah, I'm glad they're not doing any more regular season. That was a bad idea. That's good.
Thank God. Well, the awards came out, and your boy Pasternak. And can I just say, with all due respect to Pasternak, I joke and say, "Boo, Bruins, F you." I don't. Whatever. You're not the Rangers or the Devils.
Yeah, it's giving me a hard time. That's all.
Yeah, I like giving you a hard time, but I feel you'll agree with this statement, and Kelly was echoing this statement. Pasternak is lucky that the season ended because Ovi was on a tear.
So was Pasternak.
No. No. Ovi's tear was like on the other end of the dude. He was like he scored like, what was it, 12 in the last 4 games? Something.
Yeah, I did see there was a graphic somebody put, like the day-by-day goal leaders in the NHL, and it showed it. And like Pasternak went way out early, this big lead, and all the other ones are here. And Ovi's way down here. And then all of a sudden, as the season goes on, you see Ovi.
Yeah, I don't like that. I need. So, it's so weird that we went from talking about how Ovi, if he plays full seasons and there's no holdup, is going to catch Gretzky easy, and this changes everything. You lose half a year of regular season points.
No, they only lost a dozen 15 games. They were pretty close to.
That's 15 games he needed.
You're right. It does affect him, but yeah, that could be 30 goals at the rate it's going.
So back to the stat. We're going to go through this and then we're going to talk about it. So remember the 24 clubs. We're going to get to the rest of the site. Each conference is going to be assigned to Hub City with quarantine hotels, arena facilities, and transportation that nobody else can use. Good idea. I'm not a scientist, so I can only tell you as a fan how I feel about this. Each team is going to be limited to 50 personnel in each city. Small number of support staff permitted in the event areas to begin with. So you're going to keep that low. Players are getting tested. I don't know if it's twice a day, but they're getting tested every day.
It's got to be every day at least. Yeah.
You have to.
Yep.
And I assume that test is the temperature and the swab.
Yeah. Have you had the swab? Ooh, that's not fun.
Yeah, I know you have. Do you get used to it?
Yeah, it's not so bad now.
No,
I mean, I've only had it twice.
Yeah, but it's like you feel it, but it's not like you're getting stabbed in the
It's a really weird. It's a weird
sure.
feeling more than.
I've had a
uncomfortable.
test kind of like that, not as deep, but I've had my I've had my sinuses, and as you can tell, every week that doesn't always help. Yeah, it's that big.
And the only way in, they've got to swab the back of your nasal cavity, not your throat or anything, your nasal cavity.
Yeah.
So there's only one way to get in there,
and that's through the nose. Oh yeah, no, it's unpleasant.
It looks worse than it feels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did see that I'm not an expert. I'm not one of those people that pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I just read the articles and share. There is a test that is a mouth swab that is as accurate.
Good.
That is in the second test phase or something.
Well, I don't like those either when they scrape the back of your throat. Ugh.
I'd rather have throat. To be honest, I'd rather have throat.
Yeah, me too.
I always said, like, I could deal with a sore throat, and I can't deal with a stuffed up nose. So give me a scratchy throat. So the comprehensive system of testing. Early June is going to be phase 2. Phase 1, I believe, is they've got that. Getting the plan together and agreeing on it was phase 1. We're good. Phase 2, early June, the clubs return to home facilities for voluntary small group on and off ice training. It's going to take
6, right?
Say that again.
No more than 6 players on the ice at a time.
I believe it's 6. I believe it's 6. A lot of players have been able to keep up on training at home or going to a private gym that nobody else is at. But the way I'm to understand it, it's going to take about 3 weeks, even for the best athlete, to get back into game shape. So it's going to be 3 weeks. Oh, man, I hope they get through that. And this is not all for nothing because we'll have a nice episode after that. Phase 3, no earlier than July 1st, will be the formal training camp. So, your thoughts so far?
If it works, if the bubble does not get pierced, then okay, let's go.
Listen, for the large part, it was working for soccer until the one dude left to get a toothbrush.
Yeah.
What don't you Listen, I understand 100%. I know because I'm starting to get work back next week, which is crazy with all the other S going around. I don't feel very happy about it. Next week, I'm starting to get jobs back. This week, tomorrow, I'm starting to get jobs back. So we got to get moving again. But if you're going to move, you got to take precautions. That's it. You get the idea of a vaccine out of your head, and there's going to be treatments before there's a vaccine. So getting it is inevitable. How well the treatment is all depends on you waiting. Take care of yourself. You generally. That's what an expert told me. Okay, the hub cities are.
I don't think they've come up with them yet.
No, in consideration. I couldn't finish the
short list.
sentence because I hit the wrong button. Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas, L.A., Minneapolis, well, probably not now, Pittsburgh, Toronto, and Vancouver. How many Canadian teams made the 24?
Yeah.
All right, okay, fine, Canadian cities. So there could be 4 cities, so it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm sure they'll try to split it because nobody in there can just make a decision in the NHL. Just, we're doing this. That's it. Each conference seeded by points percentage. There's a round-robin tournament for the top 4 teams that'll play for first-round seeding. So,
yeah, the Bruins are not happy about that plan.
I mean, I'm not either.
Yeah, in the East, it's Boston, Philly, Tampa and
I think we'll get to that in a second. Stand by.
Washington. Yeah.
We're going to get to the team thing in a second.
All right. So the top 4 are playing round robin for seeding.
Yes, qualifying round. Remaining 8 teams play best of 5 series to advance to the first round. I'm okay with this because I don't want. I'm yes and no. I don't care about the seeding. You and I have gone by the philosophy. Once you get in there, it doesn't matter. Really.
Yep.
But.
Right, and you don't want to give the lower seeds a competitive advantage by jumping into a series while you're sitting around doing nothing.
And exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want Boston. I mean, I would like Boston to be rusty, but I don't want Philly rusty.
But then Philly would be rusty too.
Exactly. See, so I must sacrifice. Conference-based playoffs, bracket formats for each round determined by seed, and the qualifying round winners play top seeds in the first round. It's not that complicated. They're just changing the way you seed right now. First round, second round, best of 5 or best of 7. Conference final, Stanley Cup will be best of 7, no compromise. And to answer everybody's question on my end, there you don't put an asterisk. You still play for the Stanley Cup. In fact, it might have more meaning that with all the ES going on, that this might be an uplifting moment. I can't wait for the parade that we're not going to have now. What do you feel about that?
It's not ideal, but what's going to be ideal? So I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they didn't go through with having the regular season finished out. If I were the king of hockey, I wouldn't have done 24 teams. I might have just done 8 because the more people involved, the more chances are something to go wrong. So I would have said, all right, let's take the top 8 and let's do it. But yeah, no asterisk. I mean, they didn't do an asterisk during the lockout shortened season.
Nope.
The regular season is legit. Every team played between 65 and 70 games.
It's not that hard.
You still got to go through the baton death march that is the Stanley Cup playoffs to win it. So
yeah.
Bubble.
What a comparison. Whew. Man.
By the end, man, that's what it's.
I know, but I'll tell you off air, man. So City 1's going to be Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philly, Pittsburgh, Carolina, New York Islanders, Toronto, Columbus, Florida, New York Rangers, Montreal.
Ooh, Montreal's a bad team.
Yeah,
How
I know.
bad were the teams that didn't make it?
Well, that's what I was saying. We were talking to Dave in the chat, and he was like, "I don't like 24-game team," and I'm like, and he mentioned Montreal. I'm like, well, they suck. It'll be fine. They'll be out. Don't worry about
Number 5,
it.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh or Columbus or somebody will take care of them.
Yeah. That'll be no problem. And then we can make fun of him more. I don't know why you wouldn't want more ammo on that one. St. Louis, City 2, St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, Nashville, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Arizona, and Chicago. Chicago made it? They're bad too.
And what's Arizona doing at number 11? I thought they were having a good year.
The West is good.
Yeah.
Well, up that high. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Vegas made a nice run to get up in the top 4 there.
Vegas is no slouch. Listen, I just want this all to work because I know that work continued on the Key Arena, and I just need my Seattle announcement because I want to know. All right, for selfish reasons. As you said earlier, round robin for the East is Boston, Tampa, Washington, and Philly in that order. That was at the end of the season. I went back. Sorry. God dang it.
The West would be St. Louis.
Well, Pittsburgh wasn't top 4. That's just weird to say anymore. Yeah, best of 5 will be Pittsburgh and Montreal at 5 and 12. Carolina and New York at 6 and 11. Rangers, I mean. Islanders and Florida at 7 and 10, respectively, and Toronto and Columbus at 8 and 9, respectively. Are we having fun yet, folks? Are we good? We're all in this together? We all have our – all right, sweet. We're almost done here. Round robin for seeding. A lot of this I'm also finding out because the articles I was ADDing out. I'm like, I'll just do this later on the episode. Round robin for the West is St. Louis 1. Well, St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas. Man, Colorado did go on a tear. St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas. Respectively. My God. The best of 5 is going to be Edmonton, Chicago, and 5 and 12. Nashville, Arizona at 6 and 11, Vancouver and Minnesota at 7 and 10, and Calgary and Winnipeg at 8 and 9.
Ooh, that'll be a good series.
Sign me up, dude.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Like, yeah, just sign me up.
So the timeline is this will all start mid-June?
June.
No,
Yeah.
training camp will start mid-June.
June, and then by July, phase 3.
July. So that would mean, so say 2
They've
weeks of
already.
series.
I'll answer your question. They stated that the next season is going to start 2 months late. There's your
Yeah.
answer.
But I mean, I was just thinking, when is this going to end? Like September?
August. It's good. Well, yeah, beginning of September.
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah,
still
got-
start cooling down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people in Boston are actually saying if the Bruins were to make the finals, there might be a chance that they could host the finals. I don't think it's going to work that way, guys.
No. I don't understand what people don't grasp about not getting together. Like it's
Yeah, we're not going to be there no matter what.
my brain is just the connection to the words that you're reading and hearing from. Again, this is bipartisan here. I didn't mention political sides or anything that on this episode, and I still won't. The idea that you think you're going to be gathered in an arena before the end of the tail end, like December, is laughable. Now, again, I read a lot because I don't read what Aunt Schmuck sends me on Facebook because she's out of her mind. Hey, who knew the Civil War was only about guns? I didn't. That gives you exactly, Paul. Say something so everybody can see your face.
I can't. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, thank you. That was a post. And I said, so you're telling me the Civil War was about guns? She said, yep. And I said, okay. I moved
Well,
on.
to use a statement I use very frequently these days, there's a lot of stupid out there.
I was like, okay, you're a nurse, not a historian. So yeah, I know. She's retired, thank Christ. Because I'd rather.
No, you know what? In all honesty, I mean, I went to a medical school. I worked in hospitals much of my career. Most of the stupidest people I've ever met in my life are doctors.
Yeah, Booksmarts does not. Listen, I trust doctors, and I have never had better care, just normal health wise. Believe it or not, I've had zero major problems yet. It's coming. I'm a fatty, but the difference between bedside manner between where I am now and Philly, South Jersey, is miles away in the better direction. And I equate one of the nicest people I know. She's a nurse. She's very smart when it comes to nurse things. And we'll just leave it at that because I don't want to insult anybody because, again, I trust them with my life. Book smarts, generally, no matter what profession, book smarts does not equate to intelligence.
Unless you're me, and then you have both. And you have good looks, too.
Jesus Christ. That was Paul Baker. You can follow him at PuckmanRI and send all your comments. Listen, we're just trying to have a little fun here.
Feeling good. I got a nice haircut, man.
I mean, I'm beautiful and you're good looking. And Harry's not here, so we didn't cover ugly. So he'll hear that later and he'll yell at me and I'll laugh.
Yeah, you guys can start going back and forth. I don't know if you're being serious or joking.
You'll never know.
I think you like it that way.
It's always a work.
Like it that way. Yeah.
Every time it's a work. It's always a work. Apparently nobody knows that blue chair thing. So what do I know? All right. So phase 1 starts June 26th. There you go. First draw determines overall pick. Second draw. This is for the draft. I don't care.
That's you need a. Speaking of book smarts, you need a advanced degree in mathematics.
Yeah. Speaking of book smarts, which I don't have, I'm not reading that because I have no idea what's happening and I don't care. Let's get to this first, and then next time we get together, we can talk about the draft. Okay. So anyway, there you go. As I prefaced before, and I'll say it again, I miss my hockey and I need it. I can only play the video games so much, and if everybody can stay safe, it'll be a great escape. Wrestling has been doing, most wrestling companies has been doing right by their employees. Other companies, about 50 to 75%. You know who you are. You're not having a show through a drive-in. Stop it. Stop. Priorities, man, in this world, I don't understand.
Although drive-in concerts is a pretty cool idea.
Drive-in concerts and drive-in movies. Listen, I want to live long enough to see the new Ghostbusters. Okay? That's it. After that, I'll set a new goal or a death date. Until then, stay away from me and open up a damn drive-in movie so I can see the freaking thing. In all serious about drive-ins, wow, my South Jersey emphasis on the wrong syllable really came out there about drive-ins on my TV. Jesus Christ.
It's hard when you try to start talking too fast, isn't it? Try to get all the words out. And
I don't believe I just did that. I've been doing so well getting that out of my system, and there it was right there. You know it's bad when people in South Jersey make fun of that when you're around them. When they put it, my dad's like, I'm going to go to Aldi's and get some shrimps. No, you're going to Aldi to get some shrimp. Yeah, but you said TV, so be quiet. CD. All right, fine. My point is, I just need the drive-in theaters back, please. And they're open. The one on Delsea Drive in Jersey is opening back up, and I hear there's a lot of empty space in where I am. So if you wouldn't mind, please, thank you. With the Bluetooth technology in your cars, even the ones that you buy secondhand, you plug into your. I got one for the old truck. It's just it's a dongle, a Bluetooth dongle that plugs into the headphone jack, and it works as well as a Bluetooth player that comes in the car, built in now, standard. It worked just as well with that technology, and you can hook it up to the. There's no reason not to bring drive-ins back.
There's a few open up here already.
Yeah. See, now we just got to get first-run movies going again. We'll get back to it, guys. We have to change some things. A minor inconvenience. Grow up. Unlike the major inconvenience or murder we mentioned at the top of the show, just we're all the same here. Can we just all get along now? It's 2020. As Bill Hicks said, evolution didn't end with us growing opposable thumbs. That's all. Get together. Let's all get together, start loving each other, and watch some friggin' hockey. And also, Flyers, bring me back my Wayne Simmons. Not just because he's black, because I miss him. He was awesome. Nobody messed with a lot of people when he was on the ice, and we don't have that right now. Paul, how you want to close this out? Because there's nothing else to elaborate on the return of the NHL. I think we're good.
I think so.
That was longer than 20 minutes, and I blame you for jinxing it this time because
I know that's usually me.
I purposely didn't mention the ETA, and this time you were like 20 minutes. I'm like, well, there it goes, 45.
Look at that. You got your money's worth, people.
Yeah. Now, double my salary from 0 to nothing. Paul, where can people follow you, sir?
You can follow me online, trying to be good, at PuckmanRI.
Listen, there's a lot of things to argue about these days.
There sure is.
Follow me on Twitter, DanLaw83, the VOC Nation Radio Network. If you are on your iPhone or Android phone, type in VOC Nation Radio Network in your podcast app, or go to vocnation.com on the PC you're using and just listen to it on the browser. I always screw up the outro. Or just go to youtube.com/DanLaw83 or watch us live on Twitch, which it's a delayed recording this week because we're trying to respect the 24-hour blackout on social media for the absentee Kelly Levy, who's working hard to keep the lights on. I can't wait till I work tomorrow. And Paul Baker, I'm Dan Calchico. We'll see you next time. Be nice to each other.